Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why Aaron Rodgers may be about to meet his match.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why New York legend Eli Manning is not all he's cracked up to be. Speak for yourself on a Thursday starts right now. We have tomorrow off, so make it count today.
I will make it count. I'm looking forward to your Blazing 5 tomorrow. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by a couple of former NFL players, Eric Davis and Bucky Brooks.
Let's move to Atlanta. Oh, brother, here comes Whitlock. Where the Falcons will open their brand new stadium. I've heard it's amazing against the Packers on Sunday. The last time these teams faced off was in the NFC Championship game where Matt Ryan outplayed Aaron Rodgers by a mile. Matt Ryan didn't have a fever of 130. Atlanta won big in a game that wasn't that close. Whitlock, Ryan is the reigning MVP and your guy. Is he closing the gap on Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, he's younger than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is older. I think he's got more pieces, on both sides of football. I think he's got a better defense. I think he's got Julio Jones. I think he's got Devonta Freeman. They got some tight ends. I think he has more pieces, and he should be continuing to ascend while Aaron Rodgers has plateaued. So, yeah, I think he's closing the gap. Now, the curveball and all that, we talked about, Hugh Jackson is Kyle Shanahan leaving and being replaced by Steve Sarkisian. If Sarkisian doesn't do better than he did last week, Matt Ryan will back up. They got to let this guy loose and play with their offense and use the passing game to set up the running game.
You have created something that doesn't exist. You have taken
an MVP quarterback who played the
Matt
Super Bowl.
Ryan is a solid, respectable two-bedroom apartment, and you've made him a penthouse. You're saying Aaron Rodgers is peaked. Yeah, so did Pavarotti and Denzel. That ain't peaking. That's GOAT. That is all-time stuff. Matt Ryan, when you close your eyes, and I just say Brady, and I say guys, Peyton Manning, Favre, Aaron, I can see their highlights. I close my eyes with Matt Ryan, I see nothing.
I see the pass
I
to
close
Julio.
my eyes, I see Julio run. You close your eyes, I'm telling you, you'll see Julio in your dreams.
I'll do it right
Painted
now.
blue.
I'll do it right now.
He
No,
can
I don't.
score like an avatar.
I see a curl route. I see a curl route to Tony Gonzalez.
You see Julio blue in your dreams like an avatar scoring.
I got the play that should have won the Super Bowl, the pass he threw to Julio on the sidelines that should have ended the game if Kyle Shanahan had run the ball.
You think they're that close? You think they're that?
I don't think they're that close. I think there's a difference in talent. Aaron Rodgers is superior talent to Matt Ryan.
Yes.
And I think the thing that helps Matt Ryan play at a high level, the supporting cast. Two running backs that are dominant, maybe the best wide receiver in football. And when he had Kyle Shanahan, he had a dominant play caller who understood how to dial it up. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the benefit of that. I like Jordy Nelson, but Jordy Nelson and Julio Jones are not on the same
He's never had a
plane.
running game.
And so when you look at what Aaron Rodgers has been able to do, he's the epitome of a franchise quarterback, meaning he is carrying the Green Bay Packers. The wins that they are getting, they're accumulating, it's because Aaron Rodgers plays well. If he doesn't play at an MVP level, the Green Bay Packers cannot make a sustainable run in the playoffs.
But the question is he closing the gap? And he is closing the gap. And now I'm not going. But he's still closing the gap. And just because he has Julio and Sanu and Devonta Freeman in the running game and the defense,
it's a Cadillac. He's driving a Cadillac.
That's not his fault. Okay, that's allowing him to close that gap. He may not have superior talent to Aaron Rodgers, but he has those pieces that are allowing him, as Whit said, to close the gap. And they are a better team and getting closer to
Give me a great actor. I mean, a great actor, all-time actor.
Well, yeah, I mean, you threw Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. When John Travolta did Get Shorty, did he close the gap on Meryl Streep?
John Travolta's a great actor.
Oh, come on. He's fine.
I mean, Pulp Fiction, he's pretty good in Pulp Fiction.
So that closed the... No, it didn't close the gap. He got a great script, and he had a great movie.
You're making a great point.
He didn't close the gap.
You finally made a good point.
Thank you.
But the problem you have here, there's two defensive backs sitting up here on this stage. And look, man, this guy is as accurate as any quarterback in the league, in my opinion, other than Aaron Rodgers. I'm just sorry. He strikes fear, and then because of his accuracy and because of his weapons, you're acting like, again, Andy Dalton in a dome is what he used to say. This guy's much better than that, and he strikes fear because of his accuracy.
I mean, he is an outstanding passer. He throws with nice timing and anticipation, and he's figured it out. He's talked about throwing to windows and space, and then when you give him the weapons that they've given him, he absolutely looks like a top-5 player and an MVP caliber player.
Worst MVP ever, huh?
Who?
This guy, the way
Eric,
that you tell it.
I'm gonna say, we find a black man that has a problem with a Cadillac. I ain't never. My father
I was the only one, huh?
Caddy. The only one that's got a problem with a Cadillac. I love caddies.
Hey, it's Jason McIntyre, and before we move on to the next topic, I wanted to talk to you about ZipRecruiter. I started thebiglead.com, and I know firsthand how challenging it is to put the right team together. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100+ job sites with just one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your job better than anyone else. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you, it finds them. In fact, 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within 1 day. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Simply screen, rate, and manage candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/speak. That's ZipRecruiter.com/speak. One more time, to try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/speak. Start building your perfect team right away. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back, Bucky Brooks, first time on the show. Great to have you. Christine Leahy, my co-host on The Herd. You've been here before. It's always great to have you. Let's move to New York, where the Giants will look to avoid their 4th 0-2 start in 5 years. That's against the Lions, a pretty good team. Week 1 against Dallas, a disaster for Eli Manning. Underneath routes, nothing else. It surprised a lot of people, not me. Eli has 2 Super Bowl MVPs, but I still consider him an outlier. For his career, Eli has a lower passer rating than Chad Pennington, Kaepernick, Garcia, David Garrard, Mark Bulger, Mark Brunell, Whitlock. I've liked Eli, but I think in 2017, it's time to move on. I think he is a huge issue.
Listen, it's like I've told every woman that's ever dated me. Is there something better out there than me?
And what's your answer?
No, there's not.
Oh.
And so that's the issue with Eli. I mean, again, it's easy to say move on. To what? To what?
I think
the guy's won 2 Super Bowls.
Okay, again, that's the outlier, because the way it works in our
2 outliers.
Well,
So
no.
that's at the end of it.
We
Those
have
are the
a
outliers.
history in the NFL. Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson. You don't have to be great to win a Super Bowl. But mostly, the multiple winners are Aikman and Montana and Brady. So the minute he wins a second, we put him in an elevated class. Look at the number. I want to show you a number. In his career, when he's not targeting Odell Beckham, numbers on the right, that's what he is. Because there's no other Odell Beckhams coming around. That's a transformative player.
Colin, you're forgetting the name on the back of his jersey.
Okay, that's a problem.
Royalty.
That's the problem.
The 2 Super Bowls and the last name, he did it in New York. It's hard to move on from a guy like that. And look, man, there's so much fool's gold out there. What are you moving on to?
It is, but I think Colin brings the point. The Giants, Odell Beckham Jr. is their franchise player. Eli's game changed again when Odell showed up on the scene. And when you look at the numbers and all the targets, I think that game Sunday night was a great indicator on what the Giants are with Eli Manning. Because without Odell Beckham Jr., no one can get open. Brandon Marshall, Sterling Shepard, all these guys that we talked about, this is going to be the best receiver core that we've seen. Without Odell, he's average and the offense is mediocre. I think you can continue to go with him, but you need to make sure that Odell Beckham Jr. is paid and treated like the franchise player.
And I've never been a wide receiver guy. Him, I'd pay for.
So, Colin, you're big on rating quarterbacks like A, B, C, but you've also been on this thing lately of you don't want the A's, the F's, you kind of want the B-. Right. And I would say Eli Manning is a B-, but you can't, there are not enough A quarterbacks to go around the league, exactly what you said. There's really
About
nothing
7.
better. So you have to make it work with what you have. He has won 2 quarterbacks. And also listen to this, since week 11, 2004, when he took over the starting job, he's tied for 11th in winning percentage. So there's not a lot else great out there. And if you were to take, let's say, Dak and put him on the Giants offense, I don't think that he would find more success than Eli.
I don't know that. I think in a division with Dak twice a year and Wentz twice a year, though, I think what you see is 2017 football, is playmaking ability, pass rushers faster. I look at Eli and I see a 1996 quarterback. That model. By the way, everybody says the O-line's bad.
Right.
So is Russell Wilson's.
And he ain't playing that well.
No, but he's won 8 playoff games. They've yet to have an elite offensive line. If you're sitting around waiting for an elite offensive line, don't hold your breath, because there are not many in the league.
But seeing that there aren't any other better options readily available for you, you kind of have to make it work with what you have.
For the time being.
And improve your offense.
Yes.
That's not all
I guess
Eli.
my point is, I would do the Belichick. I draft a quarterback every year.
Yeah, listen, they should be at his age. They should be drafting quarterbacks. But again, what about some blame for Ben McAdoo? Again, you got a Manning. He's won 2 Super Bowls. You got Brandon Marshall. You know, what about the offensive coordinator helping the offensive line out, helping the quarterback out? I just can't put all the blame on Eli Manning.
No, you can't put all of it, because they've made some mistakes. The offensive line has been a problem the last couple of years. They haven't fixed that. They haven't addressed that. When you look at McAdoo is not necessarily a creative offensive coordinator. They play pretty static. Not a lot of motion, not a lot of pre-snap shifting. They just kind of line up and play.
Yeah.
And when you play like that, your guys on the outside need to be superior players. When they have Odell Beckham Jr., they have one guy. But without him, when we remove him from the equation, we saw that they can't get open, and it was obvious, and it was really kind of alarming that they couldn't move the ball without him.
You mentioned the first thing you said is royal family, like with Eli.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom was from Great Britain. Look how screwed up the royal family is. The problem being, when you're in New York and LA, it's just different. That's why the Lakers signed Kobe to an awful contract for 2 years. It was business. It's why you keep Jeter around and Mariano. New York sports scene right now is a mess. And Eli's the biggest name. OBJ's the biggest star. But I think part of this is the city. Eli's one of the likable 2 rings. You can sell Eli. This city's got no good sports teams outside of hopefully the Giants and the Yankees. He's a name. I
don't know about that. I feel like Eli is kind of more subdued, not the kind of guy that wants to be that big star.
He's pretty visible in New York, though.
He did a lot of commercials with his brother. He's out there a little bit, but he's certainly not OBJ, and maybe not even Carmelo Anthony in New York. All right, to Indianapolis, where according to multiple reports, Andrew Luck wants out. Luck's agent says there is no truth to the rumors, but you have to wonder, why not? Indy's been wasting Luck's prime and his health. Chuck Pagano is out over his skis, and the owner's erratic nature has destabilized the entire franchise. Cowherd, I think Luck should want out of Indianapolis. Again, the guy's 28 years old. He's got as much talent as anybody in the league. Why stick in Indianapolis with ownership that's in disarray? Couldn't make a decision about the general manager or between the head coach. Andrew should want out of there.
Yeah, I've been saying this for 2 years. The thing about sports that just cracks me up, that the middling NBA player, a 29th best player in the league, holds a team hostage. But the best young quarterback signed a contract 2 years before he had to. I don't understand this. When you have leverage in any business in America, tech, medicine, law, you use it, media. These quarterbacks, there's something about the culture of football that is so shield and coach dominated that Andrew Luck signed with this team. They hadn't proven they had a good GM. They didn't prove they had the right coach. I think Andrew Luck made a classic business mistake because you guys all know, the minute you sign any contract, leverage is gone.
Yeah, but he's a loyal guy.
Yes.
And I think that when this kind of narrative starts getting out, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe he's using this as a negotiation tactic. Like, hey, there are changes that I need to see made in Indianapolis, and that's why the story is kind of getting out. So it's not that he should leave the team. He should just want change. And maybe take the year off until that happens.
Well, I think there are a couple different things. I think we kind of giving Andrew Luck a pass because I know he has $87 million guaranteed. And I know when we drafted him, we talked about him being the best quarterback prospect that we've seen since John Elway. And so when you come as the franchise quarterback, the expectation is that you raise the fortunes of the franchise. His first few years, he absolutely did that. But even while they're transitioning, they were flipping the roster, you still expect your quarterback to be able to guide you and lead you there. And when you look at the last 2 years on the field, he hasn't performed at a high level, the level that you expect from a guy that was #1 overall. So at some point, we have to look at Andrew Luck and say that, Andrew, We need you to carry the franchise and get us out. And we can't talk about the other stuff because when you talk about Aaron Rodgers hasn't had everything around him that you need to play at a championship level, yet the Green Bay Packers are consistently in the mix.
By the way, I've criticized Kaepernick because I say, dude, I want to hear from you, not your believers, right? And I've been critical of Kaepernick. Talk. I've been critical of Andrew Luck. This passive-aggressive, it's all my fault. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks it is. It's disingenuous. Real leaders. Elway in college had an opinion. Aaron Rodgers on Kaepernick has an opinion. Part of leadership is making people uncomfortable. He is way too passive-aggressive. I don't even think he's that. He's just passive.
I don't think he likes to be uncomfortable. And when I say he's loyal, I also think that he doesn't like change. So he doesn't want to leave the Colts either.
Like
he
conflict.
just wants, exactly, and he just wants to make the situation better where he is.
Is that leadership?
It's funny that you say that, though.
It's not a great trait of a quarterback, probably.
Because every elite quarterback has a little bit of that in them.
Well,
when you look at Tom Brady,
Peyton
Aaron
Manning
Rodgers,
did.
everybody, they don't mind kind of making everybody uncomfortable because they are the franchise quarterback. So if Andrew Luck is that guy, he has to be willing to step out there and take the heat.
Here's what I find weird about it, too, that's really odd. If you go look at Elway, his dad, Jack Elway, you go look at the Mannings, and then this guy has Oliver Luck as his dad. NFL quarterback. It seemed, we saw the Mannings manipulate where Eli played.
Of course.
We saw Elway manipulate where Elway played. I don't see anything aggressive about.
He's a very smart business guy.
Yeah. Take control of your narrative. Take control of your career. Again, I think someone said it. I would consider sitting out the rest of this year, blame it on my health, and say, this organization owes me better than what it's giving me. And Jim Irsay...
He's not going to do that, though.
His agent might, though.
But no, but I guess to your point...
If I was his dad or if I was somebody that cared about him, I'd say, man up, man, take this organization
If we wrote down the 10 greatest stars of our lifetime in sports, they are all aggressive. MJ punched the teammate. Kobe infuriated.
Went to war with Jerry Krause the entire time.
Andrew Luck...
Magic Johnson ran a coach out.
To me, Andrew Luck is doing a disservice to himself. This I'm the nicest guy in the world. Stop it. It's just
nice guys finish
you said
where?
it. He doesn't want to be uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable.
But happiest.
Yeah, he'll live longer than everyone else.
Oh, great.
But he won't have any rings.
And get beat by the Titans for the division title.
All right, welcome back to the show. Christine Leahy is back, and we're joined now by the founder of The Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's return to New York, where Odell Beckham Jr. returned to practice for the first time since getting injured during the preseason. The injury might have kept him off the field, but reportedly, it didn't stop him from having a dance-off with Russell Westbrook at a nightclub this week. Odell had a sarcastic response to questions about the dance-off today.
It was a full-on dance battle, man. We were in there break dancing. I had the little beanie with the pad on it, spinning on my head. And it was incredible to be able to, do something like that with Russell, man. It really, it was everything for me.
Did you win?
I don't know. I'm not really the judge of it, but a dance battle looks good on a title. It's like, hey, a dance battle, everything's good. I know how stuff works now, so you can't really take it personal. It doesn't bother me. What'd you say?
Was that a false report?
I don't really know.
They mischaracterized you?
Yeah, but it happens. It happens all the time, so it's not really something that bothers me anymore,
All right, Cowherd, Odell's behavior, including his infamous boat party, ruffled a lot of feathers last year. Should the Giants still be concerned about his decision-making?
No, he's immature, but he's a wide receiver. I'm okay with it. I always go down to plus-minus. If you added 3 Giants that were as talented as him and as immature, would they be better? Yeah. If I had one at corner, if I had a pass rusher, Odell, and a left tackle, and they were all immature, I'd be like, I'd take it. That doesn't always work that way with talent. If you said 4 Vontaze Burficts, I'd be like, I don't want to have 13 penalties. So not all immature players can multiply well. But I think most of his stuff is sideline, off-field, immature, can live with it, doesn't affect wins and losses. I'm okay with it.
I think Odell's calling this fake news or saying it's certainly being mischaracterized. He was in a nightclub. He and Westbrook, same place. And perhaps for a short period, who knows, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, they were in some sort of dance battle. The issue is, though, if your ankle's too bad to play football, should you be at a nightclub? You know,
all right.
Let me just finish. We had this issue when I was in college. Our star tight end couldn't play in the second half of a game, but that night he's at a Kappa Alpha Psi party in the step line, and we were pissed off about it. So,
okay. All right, let's be clear. We keep calling this a nightclub. If it really was at Catch, if that's true, Catch is not a nightclub; it's a restaurant. They play music.
Do they dance?
No. So it's a complete restaurant. It's not a club. I've been to the one in New York, and I've been to one in LA. It's not. So maybe there was some music playing, and maybe they got up and did a fake little dance battle. I have no problem with that. But the great thing is I know we've been looking for the video. We've been asking to try to see this dance party, and there must have been someone who got it on their phone. So we actually did get the video.
Yeah,
there it is. Yeah. So
that's what I was trying to see.
That said, I mean, I don't think Odell's doing anything.
His ankle looks okay.
Yeah,
right?
it looks okay.
How do we know that dancing?
He's getting better.
If I said to you, if you, Christine, you had a high ankle sprain.
Right.
And I said, Christine walked
up. I did have a high ankle sprain, and I could dance.
But if you had a high ankle sprain, and I said, Christine walked up a long flight of stairs, how do I know that's not worse than dancing for 12 seconds at Catch?
I'm just trying to figure out who's in a restaurant and sees another professional athlete and says, "Let's dance."
Why not? Wait, but it's him and it's Westbrook. Of
Guys,
course
this
they're
isn't
gonna dance.
about dancing. This is about his growing celebrity. You know, with fame comes increased scrutiny. A lot of people have more eyes on you. TMZ cameras are following you everywhere. Do you want your wide receiver being that guy?
Who cares?
Where everybody's fault. Well, maybe the locker room does. His GM has told him to grow up. Last year, his coach said that. His quarterback, who's won, I believe, 2 Super Bowls, they're all telling him to grow up. I just would be concerned if this was your #1 player on the team. He's the biggest celebrity. He's hanging out with all these Drake and all these ballers.
Why is that a problem?
Because then he's got to go in the locker room, Christine, and the offensive line tells him, hey, cut that out. And he's got to be like, who are you to tell me?
They don't. And
I got the biggest Nike contract in the NFL.
They're
my bosses, not the Giants.
Immaturity never helps teams, generally.
With the guy pulling another woman's shirt down. That's the decision-making that makes me
That's a good
worried.
point.
Like, a guy that I didn't like the boat party thing, but I can deal with it. He wants to dance, go ahead. It's not happening on the field.
What about the
fact,
happening
on the sidelines?
That it's always all about him? The boat party, the punching a hole in the wall.
But that's
the day of, I believe, preseason, he comes out, I want to be the highest paid player in the NFL. It always is about him proposing to a kicking net on the sideline. I just don't know that I want that on my team.
It takes a certain level of narcissism to be as successful at a position like receiver.
Yeah. Like Terrell Owens. I mean, maybe that's what they're getting.
No, there's some truth to that. I just can't get over. You see someone at a restaurant. You're saying it's a restaurant.
It is.
And let's dance. I mean, maybe I'll see you at Buffalo
Wild
Wings.
about the dancing. Come on,
maybe it was Westbrook walks in and Odell gets up and they do a handshake and they start dancing for 20 seconds. And that's what it was.
When I take you to Maestro's, are we gonna dance off?
I'm not gonna dance. A little dark in there for me. I will say this.
Music.
Listen, here's what we know is true, and this has been reported by multiple people. The Giants are concerned with his maturity. That's been reported.
Yeah.
I mean, like the owner's upset, the GM. So, I mean, it's a discussion in the room. The question is, does it affect the team? Well, he's so much better than every other player, it largely does not. Listen, this is why they have combines and interviews. You're trying to find kids who aren't ready for the room. So I think his talent is so ridiculously, generationally great, you deal with his stuff. It's not ideal, but I don't think it tears the team apart.
2 weeks ago, he told Jay Glazer of this network, I want to be out of the limelight. Remember, he went on Jay Glazer's bus. I don't want to be in the spotlight. And where are we the first 2 weeks of the season?
I think that might be true. Just because he danced doesn't mean that he wants to be in the spotlight.
I'm just old.
But from what I've heard in the Giants locker room, there's an understanding that this is just who he is.
Yeah.
He's just a very big personality, and you can't take away from that, or you'll take away from who he is as a player,
Let him go on the boat trip. Let him go on the boat trip. He's a big personality.
Welcome back, Eric Davis. Bucky Brooks are here. Let's move to Kansas City, where Alex Smith is riding high after last week's romp in New England. Earlier this summer, though, the Chiefs quarterback said he wouldn't be surprised if he's playing somewhere else next year and was very candid about his frustration with the team drafting Patrick Mahomes in the first round.
We have a lot of expectations in it for winning now, right? Like win now. And we got this window of opportunity, and let's take advantage. And yeah, here was a draft pick that potentially maybe could have contributed, who now I'm hoping sits for a while, you know?
Sure.
Like that's the reality of it. So yeah, like it's a tough pill to swallow a little bit, you know. Yeah, man, we like, God, we could have added this or this position or this player.
All right, Whitlock, will the growing friction between Alex and the Chiefs, you think, derail the team?
No, actually, I'm going to disagree with Alex here, and I get where he's coming from in terms of, look, man, we could have added an offensive lineman, we could have added another linebacker, Derrick Johnson's getting in there. We could have added who knows what to a team that wants to win now. But I think what the Chiefs wanted is to put some pressure on Alex Smith and bring out the beast and the dog in Alex Smith. And it's worked so far in week 1, and I hope he continues to play with that chip on his shoulder. I hope he plays angry and much more aggressive all season. It worked for him opening Sunday or opening Thursday night in New England, and I think it's going to work for him the rest of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you. First of all, I don't think he's a divisive guy, but I got a graph for you. Here is Alex Smith pre-Cap being drafted and post-Cap being drafted. He was a different quarterback. That Alex is I wouldn't say a passive guy, but he's not Michael Jordan punching teammates in the face. Yeah. He may be the kind of personality that needs some ignition. And Mahomes could be the kind of guy that's in the room and everybody loves him.
Ignition, huh? Well, go ahead. You just went R. Kelly.
I just do. I think certain people need to be pushed more. Some people are more self-motivated, and clearly, I think the Mahomes thing has got him geared up, and it's not terrible.
I don't think the Mahomes thing has anything to do with it. That graph that you showed, that was pre-Jim Harbaugh as well, before he got in a system in which he could actually play. Alex is not a divisive guy. He's gone through this before. And this is the thing about Alex Smith. No one wants to give him credit for being a good quarterback because he was the #1 pick overall. And for some reason, because he had those bad years, no one wants to look at him now. He's being devalued as a quarterback because of his drafting status. Just like you'll look at a Tony Romo who was a free agent. You look at Russell Wilson, and they're elevated because of their status. No, they are who they are. It doesn't matter. That's just a selection and how many reps you're going to get before they decide, okay, your draft order. Alex is a solid quarterback, and they know that he's a solid quarterback, and he's correct. The window is closing. He was on a team where he saw that, and he got moved on before the window closed on that squad. He is saying what I think a veteran quarterback of his stature should be able to say, that we should have gotten something else right now as opposed to a guy who's going to back me up.
Well, I think what's uncommon about it is normally we see competition at every other position except quarterback. It's rare that they will bring 2 alphas and put them in the quarterback room because there's some sensitivity and some insecurity that he actually spoke about when you bring somebody in. I think the big thing with Alex Smith is he's good enough, but the prevailing thought in the league, people always want better for whatever reason. When you look at a guy like a Patrick Mahomes, who is a big, strong-arm, athletic guy who can make all the throws, you're saying, man, if we can just put that in our offense will go to the next level. I do believe he's undervalued because what he's been able to do in Kansas City, 3rd most wins, the winning percentage is outstanding, what he's done under Andy Reid, all of those things he rarely gets credit for. But I think because we live in this fantasy football age, we want to see the quarterback put up 300-yard games, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He just plays winning football, and that's hard to endear him to other people.
Why can't he have an opinion? Cap kneeled, people supported him. Richard Sherman's a corner, calls out his quarterback. Why can't Alex Smith have an opinion? He just has an opinion.
No, he does, and I don't think anyone's disregard or disrespecting for having that opinion. But Eric, I want to push back a little bit, and I know you know Alex Smith well, but I think for Kansas City Chiefs fans, they like Alex Smith. They would love him if he let it rip downfield a little bit more often.
But he lets it rip when that's the play call. They lost to the Colts in a playoff game where Alex put up 40. You know, he put up half 100.
No question.
Okay, that wasn't Alex, but that was the game in which Andy Reid was having him throw the ball down the field. Okay. That's not Andy's offense.
Okay, but Eric, do we not believe at the quarterback position what separates the good from the great is sometimes it ain't just what the coach calls. It's what the quarterback does.
By the way, AFC's had Peyton Manning, Brady, Big Ben. Alex doesn't feel like that. And Kansas City fans know their football. By and large, the sense with Alex is he's a good B. Well, the AFC's been dominated by A's, and he's not an A.
Well, again, I think he can be, and I think, again, I'm predicting, and my bet is this season we're going to see the best that Alex Smith we've ever seen. He's going to be more aggressive, and I think Andy Reid and Clark Hunt and the Chiefs are sitting there saying, yeah, because we drafted this quarterback, we've pushed him out there a little bit more, and we're going to see the best from Alex Smith.